going on about what is the purpose of higher education, particularly publicly funded higher education systems. And I think you have the dominant view, which I think is not the right view, but the dominant view is the use of higher education under this view is to impose ideological conformity, to try to promote political activism, and that's what a university should be. That's not what we believe is appropriate in the state of Florida. Instead, we need our higher education system to focus on promoting academic excellence, the pursuit of truth, and to give students the foundation so that they can think for themselves. Now, if you see the former approach is dominant throughout the country, particularly with respect to academia, you see it manifested in a lot of different ways, but more recently you see it manifested in things like DEI bureaucracies. And this is basically a component of the administration within universities that are imposing a political agenda, sometimes things like critical race theory. These bureaucracies are hostile to academic freedom, and really they constitute a drain on resources and end up contributing, certainly around the country, to higher costs as these bureaucracies metastasize. You will see flowing from that mandatory things like mandatory DEI training, and that is really imposing an agenda on people. You know, we passed legislation last year, the Stop Woke Act, which basically said that, you know, if you're an employee, particularly of like private business, you have a right to opt out of that. They can't force that on you. That's litigating it. You know, this is what happens every time. You know, we usually win these on appeal. So that's going to happen, and that's important. They also will do things like require diversity statements, is what they call it, but that's basically like making people take a political oath. And in fact, that has been applied across the country, so that if a candidate for a position at a university says, you know, my view is to treat everyone the same, regardless of the color of their skin, that they get points off for saying that you have to embrace things like critical theory, like the idea of implicit bias and all those other things, and that's just not appropriate. So that has been something that has been happening. So what we did earlier this year, right after the inauguration, we requested from all colleges and universities in the state of Florida to report the amount of money that they are using in things like DEI and CRT programs, including administrative staff, activities, the whole 9 yards. And so that report, you know, they've reported that, and it's a lot of money, and it's not the best use of your money. And so part of the reason why we're here is we're going to do something about that. You see the growth of administrative bloat around the country with higher education, and it dwarfs what they're spending on people that actually teach our students. How do you want to have this massive growth in bureaucracy and then not have see the money flow to where it really matters in the classroom? So we're going to do something about that too. And I think about how did this happen where all this administrative bloat has been allowed to have? Part of it is because they take out the loans, and they know you get these loans, so they have the kids take out more loans. They're not really improving the academic performance either. They're expanding bureaucrats and administrative staff and trying to impose an agenda through that way. So